Now I'm going to go through midterm review number 3, which is the Castlelearning number 3. So the first one is this series, and we want to see which one of these 4 is not correct, because there are several representations that could be the correct one for this series. So if I wanted to expand this out, I start out with k equals 3. So the first term would be 3 minus 1 over 3. So that would be right. And then k jumps up to 4. 4 minus 1 is 3 over 4. K jumps up to 5. K jumps up to 6. And then k ends at 7. So this one would be a correct representation. The next one, starting at k equals 1 up to 5. So if I plug in k equals 1, right off the bat I get 1 over 2 as my first term, and that does not match this. So it would be this one. This is not correct. If you plugged in k equals 1 through 5, you would get 2/3 plus 3/4 plus all the way up. So you would get the same one with options 3 and options 4. So this is the one that doesn't work. Question number 2, another sigma question. You're going to evaluate that, so you could do it the long way if you wanted to, or you could do it the short way by just using your graphing calculator and using alpha window option 2. There's your sigma, and so we're going to do x is equal to 1 up to 4, and in parentheses goes x plus 2, and then you're going to raise that to the 3rd power. So 432 looks like it would be the answer right out of your calculator. Alpha window option 2. If you don't have one of these graphing calculators, you'll have one at your test on Monday morning. Number 3, you have 2 branches of this one. X minus 3 is greater than 5, or x minus 3 is less than negative 5. So this absolute value inequality has the 2 branches, so all you have to do is add 3 to both sides. X is greater than 8, or x is less than negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. So the one that matches up with that, it looks like it's option 4. X is greater than 8, or x is less than negative 2. Question number 4, an inverse variation question. So when inverse variation comes along, you just say x times y is always the same, no matter what. So xy is equal to 9 times 8, which is 72. And so when find x when y equals 12, so x times 12 is equal to 72. So I'm just going to pull out my calculator and do 72 divided by 12, and I think it's 6. Yep. So option 3 is the answer. 6 times 12 equals 9 times 8. On number 5, find the sum of the series described by, here's the first term, you have 25 terms, and then you have the d value. Well, the sum formula is going to be given to you on the test. Sn is equal to n times a1 plus an all over 2. We know n is 25, so you're going to get S25 is equal to 25 times A1, which is negative 10, but you don't know what the 25th term is, so you're going to have to calculate that out. So to calculate the 25th term, you're going to use the formula AN equals A1 plus D times N minus 1. So the 25th term is negative 10. Now they tell you D is 1.5 plus 1.5 and N is 25. So 25 minus 1 is 24. So you're just going to take your calculator out and put in negative 10 plus 1.5 times 24. And that would be 26. So that goes in for A25 is 26. So now the sum is 25 times negative 10 plus 26 all divided by 2. Looks like 200 is the answer, option 4. Number 6, we're going to use this formula, which is like A equals PE to the RT, but instead of A, it's a V. So he's going to place $1,200 originally. That's the principal. That's what goes in for P. Interest rate is 6.5%, which is 0.065. And we need after 10 years, how much, and E is E. So how much is he going to have after 10 years? So he's going to put in $1,200 in the beginning times E to the power of, now the interest rate here is 0.065 times 10, and you just plug that into your calculator. So 1,200 times second ln of 0.065 times 10. And it looks like it's 2298.65. What do they want it rounded to? To the nearest cent. So 2298.65. 2298.65. Let me check on the back, make sure that's right. Yep. The next question is this arithmetic or geometric? So how do you get from the next to the next? Well, if you wanted to do an arithmetic series, you would have to add the same number to each one, and you would add -8 here, but -2 plus -8 doesn't work, so it's not arithmetic. So it must be geometric. So you're going to divide the second term by the first, -2/6, and that should equal the third term divided by the second, 2/3 divided by -2, which should equal the fourth divided by the third, which is -2/9 divided by 2/3. And if you divided this, you'd get -1/3. If you divided these two numbers, you'd still get -1/3. If you divided these fractions, you'd still get -1/3. So this is a geometric sequence, and the ratio, R is the ratio which is divided by, equals -1/3. Now we have a geometric sequence. The first term is -3. If R is -2, R means you just keep multiplying by that number. So -3 times -2 is 6, times -2 is -12, times -2 is 24. And they're your terms because you multiply by the R. This series, or this sequence, it looks like you keep adding 3 to get to the next, to the next, to the next. So this D value is equal to 3. And they want to find the 19th term. So AN, because this is arithmetic, AN equals A1 plus D times N minus 1. So we want to find the 19th term, A19, is equal to the first term, -20, plus D is 3, times 19 minus 1, N is 19. So let's take our calculator out, make sure we're right. -2 plus 3 times 19 minus 1 is 18. It looks like 34 is the answer. X to the -2/3. Negative means 1/, x to the 2/3. And x to the 2/3 is the cubed root of x squared. So it's option 2 because of the negative exponent. Number 11, you're going to subtract exponents, or it says using only positive exponents. So x to the -3 goes, because these are factors, you can move those down. That becomes x to the 3rd on the bottom, times this x to the 1st. Y to the 4th moves up to the numerator and gets set beside the y to the 2nd that's already there. And then z to the 4th over z to the 2nd, subtract the exponents and you get z squared. And so now what we have is y to the 4th times y to the 2nd, which is y to the 6th. Z to the 2nd all over x to the 3rd times x is x to the 4th. So it looks like it's option 3. Now we're going to solve this for x. So to solve this for x, you subtract 6 from both sides and get 2x to the -1/2 equals 10. Divide by 2, x to the -1/2 equals 5. And now we're going to raise both sides to the reciprocal of -1/2, which is -2. So x to the 1st is equal to 5 to the -2. 5 to the -2 is 1/5 squared, which is 1/25, option 3. And then the last page, you're going to rationalize the denominator. 7/3 minus the square root of 2, multiply top and bottom by 3 plus the square root of 2. So on the top, you're just going to multiply 7 times 3 plus the square root of 2, and on the bottom, multiply the first, 3 times 3, 9. Negative square root of 2 times positive square root of 2 is negative 2. 9 minus 2 is 7, and there's a 7 on the top and a 7 on the bottom. They cancel out, so you're left with 3 plus the square root of 2, option 3. Number 14, you're going to rewrite this as a base of 2. So you have 2 to the y minus 3 is equal to 1/16 is 1 over 2 to the 4th, and 1 over 2 to the 4th is 2 to the negative 4th. So now that the bases are the same, they don't matter, and you're just going to solve y minus 3 is equal to negative 4. When you add 3 to both sides, you're going to get y equals negative 1, option 3. And then the last one, another absolute value inequality, you say 2x plus 3 is greater than 7, or 2x plus 3 is less than negative 7. So just subtract 3 from each side. 2x is greater than 4. Divide by 2, x is greater than 2. Or subtract 3 from negative 7, and you get negative 10. And divide both sides by 2, and you get x is less than negative 5. So greater than 2, less than negative 5, looks like it's option 2. And I believe there's one more. Same thing, except it's a less than or equal to. So 6x minus 7 is less than or equal to 5, and because it's less than, 6x minus 7 is greater than or equal to negative 5. Add 7, 6x is less than or equal to 12. Divide by 6, x is less than or equal to 2. And add 7 to negative 5, and you get 6x is greater than or equal to 2. And then you're going to divide both sides by 6. X is greater than or equal to 2/6, which is equal to 1/3, simplified. So since this is and, it goes in between. It's sandwiched between a positive 2 and a 1/3. So the answer would be option 1. This is the sandwich, A and D. And that's the end.